As the economy tumbles into a deeper recession, the right wing takes a page out of the Tea Party playbook. Only this time, their colorful protests could be deadly. Welcome to Momocrats Mama Chat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz-Mills with Kara Lee and Eliza Worthington of crooksandliars.com. And we're trying an experiment today. Those of you who are listening to this on Blog Talk Radio or through your usual audio platform should know that we actually recorded this on Zoom. And we're going to be putting up a video on the Momocrats YouTube channel. So you can see us in all of our isolated glory. And we'll have to see how this all works. How you doing, ladies?
I'm doing great. Welcome to my lake, by the way. Here's my lake behind me. Unfortunately, it's kind of gloomy and doomy today, but it was pretty day the day I took that picture. So
yes,
so
she
here
is
we are.
Fortunate to have a lake, and and Eliza is holding up her favorite mug that says "Trust me." Trust me,
I'm a little
reporter.
late to the party. I'm finishing my coffee first.
That's my favorite one. Of course, I gave that one to you.
That's right. That's
Carol
right, you did.
Held up a similar mug.
It was either that one or this one.
There we go. There we go. We've got obscene mugs. Yeah, that was part of the Kathy Griffin collection of anti-Trump merchandise. So got to give credit to Kathy Griffin. And so you guys, you know, it just gets crazier and crazier every single freaking day. I made a list of things today to talk about, and it was practically a book.
I know.
It was really long today.
It was really long, and I know we didn't get everything.
No.
And I want to start out with something that's not on the list because it just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, so first Trump tweets stuff about liberating California and Minnesota and Virginia.
Liberating. Yes.
Yeah. And then Laura Ingraham tweets that, you know, how about those people that were so passionate about liberating Iraq and Afghanistan, you know, where are they? Why aren't they liberating California?
What the hell?
Is war going to be declared on California?
What does that mean?
Are they going to drop bombs on us? What is the matter with these people? What is the matter with her?
Well, I don't know what that means though. Like, why? Okay, so the people who are passionate about liberating Iraq are somehow, what are we supposed to be, what are we doing wrong now?
I don't know.
Well, what we're doing wrong.
What are we doing that we shouldn't be doing?
What we're doing wrong
we're
is
not
that
Trumpers.
What we're doing wrong is that we have like 2 deaths per 100,000 in California.
Yeah.
As compared to what is happening in other states. And what will happen in South Dakota, for instance, where they refuse to put in any kind of stay-at-home measures after the Smithfield plant came up with 600 infections?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it was 500 from employees and then another 100 of contacts. And so we're only starting to know about the contacts.
Yeah.
It's crazy insane.
It's crazy insane. And you had the folks the other day with their big demonstration in Michigan against Gretchen Whitmer, who is trying to manage a really bad outbreak of coronavirus.
Yeah.
And I think there are people who think that they are immune from it, or think it's a hoax, or think, well, if I get it, it's not going to be any worse than the flu, or I don't know what.
Or they think that if they feel fine, that they
That
might
they
not,
are fine.
that they are fine, and that they're either not gonna, that they might not spread it. That it means that they're, they still haven't, like, it hasn't sunk in that, what it means to be asymptomatic and still have it and be able to spread it, or.
Yeah, like the governor, what was it, Kemp of Georgia, who said he only just found out that you can be asymptomatic and spread
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
When that's
bullshit.
That's
Which
been
is bullshit. I don't
for
believe that.
months.
I don't believe that, but he said it. I mean, he said it, but people are like, the CDC's in Atlanta. It's right there.
Right. I mean, that's just baloney, but I don't know what those people are thinking either. I do know that the ones in Michigan were part of astroturfing, just like the Tea Party, right?
It is
It's
a page right out of there. And once again, you've got the media going, it's like catnip. It's like, ooh, there's something going on. It's not just people in masks and people in their homes. I can go cover something, and it's conflict and it's sexy and big. And they're going to have these signs and swastikas and Confederate flags and stuff. And yeah.
I mean, we can one up you on that, because I just wrote something on Oklahoma.
Right. Go ahead.
Tell me about Oklahoma.
Who's apparently, I learned, Carolee, it's their state motto.
Oh, worse yet. I'm sorry.
What's that?
There were people at the Oklahoma just had protests at their state capitol. And people were carrying signs that said, "Work conquers all." Does that sound familiar?
Oh, yeah.
What does that remind you of? Anyway, it's hauntingly familiar. Work makes you free, from the Auschwitz gate. And it turns out that that's Oklahoma state motto, in the Latin version of that is the Oklahoma state motto. So there were people, of course, carrying those signs, and
I don't know what to say. What is
Oklahoma was one. I did a little research because, I go down rabbit holes and I'm like, let's see how many Jews there are in Oklahoma. So I started looking that up. And then I'm
not a whole lot.
Let's say, and it was funny because there are 8 synagogues in Oklahoma, which I was surprised there were even that many, but one of them has a membership of 8.
Right.
And literally 8 people in it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those synagogues that, where services are held in someone's house.
Right.
And then I went and I looked up, let's see where they rank in education. And then I said, let's see how many of them voted for Trump. And I went and looked that up. So this is why, Carolee, this is why I can't.
Okay, these are rabbit holes you probably don't need to go down.
Well, it's interesting though, because Oklahoma is one of 2 states where that every single county Trump won.
Yeah.
Every single county. It's one of only 2 states. So, it was just perfect for the post, because I was like, well, what do you get when you combine a state that has, virtually 0 Jews, a horrible education system, and every single fucking county went for Trump, and a pandemic? What do you get? You get a fucking state motto that sounds like it's Auschwitz 2.0. That's what you get.
Although strangely enough, I think Oklahoma is one of the states that has a really good early childhood education program.
It might be, but they're in the 40s for education. I think it was 42.
Are you sure that's not Arkansas?
I think it was Oklahoma.
Well, the reason I ask is because Arkansas is where Hillary did all that work on early childhood education.
Right. So now I'm going down a rabbit hole. You guys talk politics. I have to look this up.
Well, so the bottom line is that we have a replay of 2009 that they're trying, at least that's what they're trying to do here. The difference here is that people's families are at risk. People are losing people to, people they love to this disease at a horrifying rate. I mean, just yesterday, there were 4,000 American lives lost to this disease. just yesterday.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that number is more than all the 9/11, lives lost. And
Yeah.
everything. So this is, whatever their game they're playing here, and I do believe they're playing one, is a campaign ploy, and it's meant to gin up the base, basically, in order to compensate, I guess, for the fact that Trump's not out there rah-rahing the troops. And these daily cable news show rallies are just bullshit. I mean, they're like, I don't think people actually watch them, at least not start to finish. But they're also,
how can they? Who has time? They're 3 hours long.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's and the cable news has to be losing money. They're not running any ads for 3 straight hours. It's crazy. So anyway, but that aside, this effort is this AstroTurf effort, in my opinion. I mean, I think there's probably back channel shit disturbing going on and all kinds of other things, right, that we don't know about, in order to stir up people to rise up, to reopen the country as if the doors were slammed shut or something,
Right.
which they weren't. So anyway, it's annoying, but I don't think it's going to work, because I think
I'm
people,
sure.
disease is different from healthcare reform in a lot of different ways.
Yep.
Okay, so you were right. It's Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, did you mute yourself? Did you mute yourself, Donna?
They're like a model for the country. I have 2 places to mute and unmute, but you didn't hear me typing, so.
I didn't hear you typing. That's true.
So sorry.
okay.
I knew I had read that somewhere, like in the New York Times. So
Oh,
a blogger's mind. It was in the New York Times. What?
yeah, freaking.
We hold on to all that stuff
Yeah.
up here.
Oh, I wish I did.
No, I don't. I used to, but I it's like it ran out of room.
Yeah.
So now
it was such a weird fact that it had to stick in my mind.
Oh yeah. It is an unusual fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And, I'm sure I'll remember this fact about.
Maybe it's that they educate the kids early so they can put them to work in the oil fields when they're.
I was just gonna say.
Here I am trying to
they'll be okay when they don't
to
go
one
to
of our
college.
red states.
Yeah.
But,
I'm over it. They're out there like declaring war on California. Fuck that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Laura Ingraham is a menace. She needs to go off the air. She needs to be treated like Trish Reagan and basically lose her job. That tweet was absolutely violent.
Bonkers. Yeah.
It was. I'll read you the exact words because it was crazy. Okay, here we go. I think, how many of those who urged our government to help liberate the Iraqis, Syrians, Kurds, Afghanis, etc., are as committed now to liberating Virginia, Minnesota, California, etc.? What the fuck?
What do we need liberation from, though? That's what I don't get.
The liberals.
Her leader, Trump? I mean, liberate us from Trump.
Liberate
please.
us. Yeah, please do it now.
She thinks that Gavin Newsom is oppressing us.
Like, what does she think? Like, we're under stay-at-home orders. We've just, and I have a Republican governor. And not only that, we have to also start wearing, we have this order to start wearing masks in public.
Because it's a public health
exactly
issue.
Right. I don't feel oppressed.
Right. This should not be hard for anyone to understand. Nobody likes it.
But
Nobody
it is.
likes that they're not, that we're not just zooming along the way we were 3 months ago.
But I would like it better. I like it better than having my lungs filled with Elmer's glue.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like it better than being on a ventilator for 20 days.
Right.
And it's better. And I like the idea of not infecting people.
But this happened in 1918 too. And there were fewer educated people, presumably educated people, who would understand the science in 1918. For it to be happening now is mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling.
The science is there. We see it happening. We see the death rates all over the world. We see how infectious this thing is. and yesterday's death toll was
how efficient
double.
it affects. Yeah.
Thursday's death toll was almost double of Wednesday's death toll. It is still spreading. It is still growing, even though efforts to flatten are working. The people who were infected 2 weeks ago are still dying. And it's going to be a while before it starts to decline, before the death rates start to decline. And in the meantime, you've got it spreading in the rural areas. You've got it spreading in the nursing homes.
Mm-hmm. In the places where people are most vulnerable.
Most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course we want to reopen the economy. I would kill
restart, but yeah.
To restart. I would kill to go have a nice Italian meal in my favorite little restaurant with a glass of wine and chat with the waiters, and that ain't gonna happen anytime soon.
No, it's not.
Yeah, like maybe for a year.
Yeah. What they're
it
talking about in California, when restaurants reopen, that they would take your temperature before you come in with infrared, that the waiters would be masked and have gloves, that they would hand you disposable menus, that, the tables would have maybe half or a third. I don't know how the economics are going to work for small restaurants. I think they're still going to have some kind of takeout component.
There is another option here to that, or at least another solution that could speed that up. And that's testing on a huge scale.
Yes.
Testing.
Yes.
Right.
Both
testing
the serology
testing for disease.
Yes.
All of that. Testing,
and we need double or triple what we have now. Trump gets up there and goes, we've tested 3 million people. That is 1% of the US population. That's not enough.
And then he gives these false, these false comparisons, as if, it's a real comparison, but it's false in terms of any kind of significance. Like, we've tested more than any other country or more than so-and-so. Who gives a shit?
We've got 340 million people living here.
It's not enough for the number of people we have in our country.
Per capita, we're worse than any other country.
What matters.
Yeah.
Right. And the testing has been abysmal and insanely stupid. To the point where I just watched Jay Carney on CNN, who's now like a executive VP for Amazon in charge of their communications, basically saying, we're going to make our own test. And, why not? Bezos got all that money, might as well, right? For our employees, we're going to make our own test and we're going to use it because we can't wait anymore for the feds. And I don't agree with that. And the reason I don't agree with that is because everybody in this country should be tested or have the right to access a test.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you have to have a right to access a test that's going to be accurate. Not every test that people have ordered have been accurate.
Right.
And there are issues with the parts for the tests, like they're low on the swabs, they're low on the reagents, and you are competing with every other country in the world for these test components because it is a global pandemic. We are all experiencing this at once. It's not an outbreak here and an outbreak there. It is everywhere. And
exactly.
It could have been nipped in the bud if our government had taken measures when they first learned that this was happening, when the intelligence first said, hey, there is this new coronavirus in China that looks like it's going to be a pandemic, do something. And they did nothing.
Right.
They did nothing. This is all on Trump. I'm sorry.
Yep. Don't be sorry. It is. It is on him. It is absolutely 3 weeks earlier, 90%, if he had reacted 3 weeks earlier, instead of pouting about that CDC official who first said, who
told the truth.
Be a big deal.
Yep. Who told the truth.
3 weeks earlier, 90% of the lives lost could have been saved.
Yeah.
90%.
Instead, she got silenced. She got smeared.
Yep.
Alex Azar, who, whatever his faults are, he was trying to do the right thing. He got sidelined.
Yep.
And
now
he is trying to shift the blame to yes, Michael Caputo
is now the spokesman. They shoved Azar aside for that dude who is like a Roger Stone crime.
Yeah. Who's Michael Caputo? I don't even know who this guy is.
So you know how I know who he is that he launched some email list right after Obama got elected with a bunch of sleazeballs on it, and somehow added my name. I do not know how my name got added to this list, but it did.
Sure.
And with all these sleazeballs. So I was getting, for like 2 months, I was getting these emails, and I wasn't saying anything. I was just watching them to see what would happen.
You're like getting the popcorn.
But every time you'd read one, you'd feel like, oh my God, I've just been slimed. And then finally got a clue and took me off the list. I don't know how I got there in the first place, and I don't know how they took me off, but they did take me off.
Funny.
So yeah, I mean, that he's a pig, and you know, he's a pal of Roger Stone's, and he's about as sleazy as Roger Stone, and you know, so that's who they're putting in charge of HHS communications. Now, Alex Azar to me is kind of a snake too, but I did feel like he was at least
he'd worked
cognizant of the public health threat, you know, So anyway, here we are with, you know, and that's the part that infuriates me the most about this is that, you know, there's a team of incompetence in Washington, D.C., right? And people are dying out here, and these and what we get, instead of just let's get the people who know what they're doing in, what we get instead is a bunch of excuses and blame casting, and you know, the governors should be doing it, and really the dialogue under the governors should be doing it is this: the governors have to do it because this administration is too stupid and too incompetent to do it. Oh, I see we switched living rooms, Eliza.
I did. I went back to Golden Girls. It just felt right with you guys.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm not sure how I should take that.
Oh, I think, well, there's 3 of us, right? It's, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like we're more Golden Girls than Simpsons.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Which one of us is Blanche?
Oh, Carolee for sure.
Oh, I would love to be her. She was awesome.
Just get those shoulder pads, you know.
You know, I do have a couple of jackets that still have shoulder pads in them because I love them so much.
Oh my God.
They were the best. Shoulder pads were awesome for somebody like me, you know?
Yeah.
They just,
Yeah.
balanced everything out.
Even everything out.
Yeah. Power jackets from the 80s. I still have a couple.
Yeah.
So.
I do too, but they don't fit me anymore.
All right. Anyway, back to this. Here's something though, just to bring in our side for a minute. Biden, I think the reason that Trump is raging today is because Biden sent out this press release, basically just hammering Trump. And the title of it is, this is the best part. Let me just read this to you.
Sent to everybody, or a press release that I wouldn't have gotten?
This was a press release that he sent to the press list. And it said basically this. Here's the title. Trump bought China's dishonest spin on coronavirus and wasted precious time, and after Biden publicly warned him not to.
Ooh.
And then he goes through like step by step from January, February to March, all the times that Trump was like, we're best friends with China and China's best friends with me and blah, 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 and everything. It's great. Good. I mean, it's like, woo, baby. He just like.
Good.
But the problem is, as Eliza points out,
go ahead.
It came to me, right, because I signed up for his list. That needed to be, and of course I'll do something on it, but that needed to be like a video statement.
Yeah.
Right. This is the part that they haven't quite gotten to.
Because we haven't, because we should have heard about this.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I would amplify that. How does that get amplified?
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, right? In this day and age, it's not enough to send a press statement. You have to be willing to put out a video statement. An ad would have gone well with this.
Yeah.
Send me an ad that says that, right? And you know,
Yeah.
and
Slice together all the times he said that, how great what great friends he is with China.
Right, exactly. So, but something, and this is where I want to see their campaign really ramp it up, right?
Yeah.
They've got to get people who think online, right? Who live online, because that's where we all are living right now. We're not out there talking
There's
to
no
our neighbors.
choice but to be effective online right now.
Exactly. So, you know, he's got to frame this stuff in a way that is going to get him some eyeballs, and that not just online, but also, yes, on cable news and, you know, everywhere else. Trump is out there getting 3 free hours of cable news every goddamn day. Every day.
Yeah. And
so how does Biden get that?
So he was on CNN.
What does he do?
He was on the town hall with CNN, last night
or
the night before.
One, but then he's been doing these virtual town halls that nobody's really doing anything about. These other, you know, like the ones that are on his website. We wrote about it. We try to stream it, but like it just seems like they don't really get much, you know.
They don't get the traction.
Not yet, but I honestly think one of the reasons I'm such a believer that every single one of those is going to be live streamed on our website, and we're going to tweet it and Facebook it and all the rest of it, is because it's until that buzz starts happening, right? Then networks aren't going to find a way to televise it. And we need them to do that. So, you know, I've been really passionate about making sure that we get those up, that we do. But here's the other part of that. We need more spontaneity in that, right, than we're getting right now, right? He's doing these like with canned questions, basically, that, you know, they've been pre-screened and everything. And, you know, he's giving good answers. They're passionate and he's empathetic and he's great. I'm not saying he's not, but it just needs to be more spontaneity, more back and forth.
Yeah.
Are they afraid of spontaneity?
I don't think so. I mean, because his answers have been pretty, you know, they haven't been canned answers.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to getting on cable TV, but they have, I don't know, maybe we should start squawking at them. I'd certainly yell at them every day about the shit show that they keep showing.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know
he
how to
should have an opportunity to rebut every day what Trump says. And now here is the opposition. Now here is the shadow government, or whatever you want to call it.
There's another hour of paid air, you know, non-aired, no ad airtime that the news, they're not going to do that. What they should
run ads.
What they should do maybe is give Trump an hour. When they're done, you know, if he doesn't say anything of substance or whatever, which he won't, cut the fuck away and give it an hour to Biden.
Right.
You know, Biden, like, you know, isn't an advantage because he can structure his to 20 minutes or whatever it takes, so they can still have their ads around it. You know, I mean, Trump bloviates for 2 or 3 hours. And
what was that bullshit he just said about so? I mean, Biden can just respond to it. It can just, really? You're going to do this? Okay. Really? You think you're going to bomb California? What is this nonsense? What is
that's Laura Ingraham.
I know it was Laura Ingraham, but whatever. Really? The only thing you have to say about the protests in Michigan are that the people like me, the people holding the swastika flags like me? That's what. That's all he had to say about it when they asked him that question. Have some of the people who can't, you know, because they're rotating in the briefing room, the number of reporters that can come in, have the people that can't come in there, have him host a briefing across the street and have those other reporters go into where he is.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
You know, at the Washington Press, you know, whatever, at the press club or something, have him host his own briefing.
Right. Well, I mean, he's basically on the stay-at-home orders, right? So he's got a basement studio, is what he's got. But I mean, you've seen Gavin Newsom's done news conferences on Zoom, basically, where the reporters are asked the questions on Zoom directly to him. And Biden held one of those, and I'd like him to do more, like every day.
Yeah.
you know, because Andrea Mitchell was on that Biden, you know, press conference, and they would assign other reporters, CNN and all the rest of them would assign reporters to that. But it's got to be like an everyday thing. And Biden has the institutional knowledge right now to actually form and craft intelligent responses to the bullshit that Trump's throwing out there, and say
he's
over
got
and
Ron
over again.
Klain, who was in charge of the Ebola response.
Right. Right. So I mean, he's got the, you know, just the know-how to deal with this. But if we don't hear him, we can't know that. We three can know that, but the rest of the country won't know it unless we can hear him.
Right.
So that's what has to happen,
now,
I think. And so listen to me, Joe Biden. Get in front of that camera every dang day.
Now, the endorsement messages he got this week were excellent. I loved Warren's endorsement of him.
Yeah.
Where she said, you know, because we know that they did not always get along. You know,
Nope.
we saw that in the debates.
They didn't get along, or they just didn't like each other while they were running?
No, they have a history of clashing over economic, over the banks.
That's right. He was super condescending to her while she was testifying in the Senate, right? Like as, you know, years ago, right?
Yeah.
That was him, wasn't that?
But then, which gave some credence to her saying, hey, he welcomed me when I was elected to the Senate.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll tell you, you know, he may not agree with you, but he will listen to you. And he will ask questions. And if he's wrong, he'll change his mind.
Yeah.
You know, and she sounded very good.
Okay, good.
I loved Obama's because he didn't just limit it to, I mean, first of all, just hearing Barack Obama again was like, oh, thank you. Thank you for sanity. Thank you for your calming voice, you know, all of that. So, and,
you know,
but he didn't like just say, I love Joe Biden, right?
No.
I mean, he started to hit back at Republicans and Trump and everything else. And
yeah.
That part of it was great. I would have liked to have heard more, you know, it bugs me when, and I know he did this when he endorsed Hillary Clinton too, when he, you know, spoke to the Bernie Sanders supporters and praised Bernie Sanders and all that stuff. And, you know, what, you know,
we need our kumbaya moment, Eliza.
And all that stuff. I get it. But I was really disappointed that there wasn't more. It was a 12-minute long video or whatever it was. And I think he could have devoted at least a couple of those minutes to really honoring the fact that the people who are feeling disappointed about the lack of diversity that this ended up boiling down to, the women that got shut out so early, the Black people, the Latinx people, all just I don't know. It just, I think he could have, I was disappointed in that. I felt like, I don't know. I was a little disappointed. I'm like, when, you know, we could really stand to hear something from him about what a fucking tragedy that is, that this is what it was, you know, and the deep disappointment that some of us have been feeling since December, and sucking it up and saying, we'll vote for the Dem, of course, and doing, you know, soldiering on and doing everything we need to do, you know, instead of only the ones who were for Sanders. I don't know. I'm being a little picky, but I'm also kind of in a bad mood today. But yeah, I thought he could have done a little more for the rest of us.
Well, they could always do a little more, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
And
I was okay with. I liked it. I'm not.
The rest of it I liked a lot. I thought he did, especially the more and more he hammered the Republicans and Trump, and how deftly nobody throws shade like he does.
It's true.
You know, it's so
nobody does.
sophisticated and
God, I miss that.
and perfect. It's really good. So
Coherence
and
coherent arguments. I miss that.
That too,
seriously.
Full
Okay. And
sense.
had we done, time just flows together. Had Bernie done his endorsement last week when we did our podcast?
No, he had not.
Okay, so we have to talk about the Bernie because he did a good job.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
And, for the most part, yes, first of all, there's some trolls on Twitter, and then there's just some diehards that are making a lot of noise, but they don't actually mean much in the real world. I mean, for the most part, real Bernie Sanders supporters are like, okay, fine, we're doing it. We're going this way. There's a few of them that are out there saying, well, he's going to have to earn my vote, but for the most part, there's not that many of them.
Really?
Most of them are falling in line.
Door husband.
I hear a lot of, maybe they're just trolls in the group that I moderate, but I get a lot of people in it. The group that I moderate has about 60,000 people in it. And of course they don't all comment, but we have a ton of people still popping up and saying that. That they won't, that Biden has to earn it and that he needs to appoint Bernie Sanders as VP or, stupid. I know it's so stupid.
It is.
Yeah.
But,
but they make a lot of noise.
Yes, they're making a lot of noise and they don't. Yeah. And they seem to be real people. So I'm just not, I don't know. I guess I don't have.
Well, there are some that are real. I mean, not saying that everybody that says that is a troll. I mean, there's for sure ones that are real, but they're not representative of the larger universe of people who are looking at this election and making a choice, and yes, we want every single vote, but at this point, Bernie, I feel like it did what he had to do this time around, what he didn't do in 2016, he absolutely did do this time. He was, went ahead and did the thing, and like his press secretary that's making all the noise on Twitter, he basically is disavowing what she's saying. I mean, that's what we want. So
and maybe the pandemic forced him to do this earlier than he did in 2016, but
maybe
the fact is he did it. So because we need to coalesce, we need to get rid of this grifting, corrupt, lying, incompetent,
all of that. All of that. Yes.
Again and again and again.
I'm just hanging on to my bitter feelings though from 2016. I can't stop it. I need to stop.
Yeah.
But
I need to move on.
I'm still hanging on to these feelings.
Yeah, you gotta let go of that.
If Trump wins again, we're all going to be bitter if we live.
We're going to be dead.
Yeah.
If Trump wins again,
kill us all.
It's going to be pitchforks and torches, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it's going.
Yeah.
He does not have the skills to manage what we have in front of us. It's really that simple.
Well, no, and
I'm talking about economically and every other way. They're not.
Who are you saying will be holding the pitchforks, Carolee? Them or us? I mean,
they'll be holding guns. We'll be holding pitchforks.
Right. Exactly. So
I'm sorry. I just had that. You're right, but that just needed an ironic laugh to go with it.
It's okay. It's a release. Laughter is a release.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So,
Trump knows how to do is divide.
Divide and drive us farther into depression. I mean, that's the thing. And I'm not talking about emotional. I'm talking about economic.
No, he doesn't care about anybody's economies except for his own. And, what has happened with the relief bill and the fact that all of the money for small businesses is already gone.
Yeah, all gone.
And big companies like Ruth's Chris, not the little mom and pop restaurants who don't have relationships with banks, but you've got your big corporate restaurants getting these huge.
Can somebody explain to me how a publicly owned company gets millions out of a program that's for small businesses? How is that possible?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Aren't they franchises?
That
Aren't they
of itself.
franchisees?
Yeah, I have no idea how that shit works.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, I mean, I know people that have been trying to get into this program. So
I know.
For example, one of the things that happened was that, I mean, there was a lot of people that got turned away because they didn't have B of A business credit cards.
Right.
That was a thing.
Right.
But I actually know people that are trying to get into this program and have relationships with banks and have all the things and everything. And Wells Fargo did things like said, we didn't have applications, we don't have applications, and then quietly opened up their applications on Saturday. But like after the program opened, where nobody knew about it except apparently their clients, right? And then on Monday they said, oh, we don't have any more applications, but you can put your name and email in here. And these are people that have relationships with the bank. And then you hear about publicly traded companies getting millions out of this program, and the program being, you know, being bankrupt. And I'm thinking, this was not for small business. I don't care what they called it. This was not for small business.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there definitely will be another tranche of funds, but it's going to be haggled out in Congress. In the meantime, we have real small businesses who are struggling.
Not only, and how will the same thing not happen? I mean,
that's
one of the things the Democrats are actually wanting to fix, because that's obviously an issue with this program. And they're not going to just say, yeah, let's do this clean bill because we want vote by mail. I mean, there's things that if we don't fight for it right now, we're not going to get ever.
Yeah.
So,
like what?
You know, well, okay. So vote by mail is one, but I don't even know if they're trying for that in this bill. But one of the things that Nancy Pelosi wants in it, and I agree with, is aid to the states. Right?
Yeah.
The states are stuck in canal water right now.
And the locals and the city governments as well.
Right.
States and cities.
Cuomo today saying they're out of money. I mean, even if they wanted to do the testing, they don't have the money to ramp up a program like that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And California has a rainy day fund, and I'm sure we've blown through half of it already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know, you had hashtag during the week to recall Gavin Newsom. You know, it's the same thing that happened during Enron, where Gray Davis came in, there was a rainy day fund, and he spent it all on keeping the lights on because Enron had played around with the cost of energy. And then people are going, well, you know, let's recall him. We don't like paying this extra money on our vehicle tax, you know.
You know, fuck those people too. I'm sorry. That's the Republican Party is so dead in California that they just glom onto everything they can to try to do things.
That's what Laura
like
Ingraham wants to liberate them from, you know.
You know what? I'll liberate them. I'll show them the door right into, I don't know.
Idaho. Go to Idaho.
New Mexico, they can move.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to send them to Arizona because Arizona right now is it's purple and it's elected Democrats, so I don't want them going there.
No.
Or Nevada.
Idaho.
Idaho, yeah, Idaho.
Idaho's good.
Actually, we have friends that moved to Idaho, and I like them. They're Democrats.
They must be very lonely there.
Yeah, they are. So anyway.
So at the same time, it was, I think that this $1,200 relief check or whatever that has just started arriving.
Yeah.
And, you know, the direct deposits are just starting to arrive. The checks are held up so Trump's name can be on it. Mnuchin thinks that's enough for you to live on for 10 weeks.
For 10 weeks.
All the other developed nations are giving people some form of universal basic income.
Yeah,
80% of what they were earning. This would have been a far better approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean,
I don't know what's wrong with them. I honestly
we needed
don't.
to, you know, put a stop to the economy, stop debt collection, stop rent collection, give everybody some universal basic income to get you through this temporary stoppage,
Yeah.
that would have made people happy,
Yeah.
and whole.
Right.
But instead, you've got people saying, well, people are going to be sitting around earning money instead of working for it.
Yeah. Getting money they didn't work for. And
You know, that's such a,
It's
listen,
BS.
billionaires get money they didn't earn every single fucking day.
And that's the reason why they want to reopen, because, you know, they get their money off of the rest of us working
Right.
for them.
Yep.
And endangering our lives, by the way.
Right.
So,
but the lemmings love it. They want to go back to work. The ones in Oklahoma, they're like, we want to work. We want to work. And, you know.
Well, don't we all want to work?
we all want to work.
That's not the question here. The question
Yeah.
is,
We wanna
nobody's
live.
sitting around eating bonbons saying, oh, thank God I don't have to go to work because,
Yeah, we're on vacation.
you know, there's disease. I mean,
Yep.
nobody's saying that, right? We all want
Right.
to go back to work. We just don't
Yeah.
want to die in the process. I don't think that's
Right.
unreasonable.
No.
No.
You know,
No.
I mean, in our case, at least mine, I work online, so it doesn't matter for me. I'm going to work online whether or not. But I know a lot of people that, you know,
Yeah.
would like to go back to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I would like my sister, I would like my daughter and her boyfriend and my niece and her boyfriend and, you know, our kids.
right.
I mean, our kids
all
came
are
of
gonna work.
age. You
Yeah.
know, this is their second big recession they have lived through.
Right.
They're going to be so much worse off than our generation was because they have no chance to build up any wealth. You know?
Well, at least not right
Because-
now. But I mean, like somebody emailed me and told me that Canada was paying out $2,000 a month, just period. And they said to everybody.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they said they just settle it when they file the tax return. If they got other income,
Yeah.
then they'd pay it back.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
otherwise it would be theirs to keep. What is wrong with that? I mean, this is
Nothing.
our nation,
Yeah.
right? We are the people that build it. We
Yeah.
are the laborers that make the wealth in this country. And the billionaires are the ones who just suck it up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for all this bullshit about how their creativity and you know what? It was the people that manufactured the things.
Yeah.
What?
Come on. I mean, well, Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook because he couldn't get laid.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Raking in all those beautiful ad bucks.
Yeah. So you guys, we have about 10 minutes left. Do we want to talk about Wisconsin?
Yes, because happy and
Oh,
weird.
happy. Okay. I didn't know if we were talking about the stupid ass like
Well, I think you have
the
to do
voting
both.
or the results of the voting.
The results of the election.
Right. So they have a terrible, awful election that involves like only 5 polling places for all of Minneapolis. Milwaukee. I always do
Yeah.
that. Sorry, Kathy. And everything, and you know, people standing in line and endangering their lives and all the rest of it. And the liberal judge wins. Yay!
Yay.
Yes. Yay, liberal
So,
judge.
Yeah. So that
Turnout
was
is
a
everything.
big win for us.
It was
Yeah.
a huge win for us.
And at great sacrifice by the people
Right.
who were doing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
People were
So-
like, don't ever talk to me about lack of voter enthusiasm again.
Yeah.
You know, these
Right.
people came out in the horrible weather in the middle of a pandemic, wearing masks, you know, they were just.
And it was
And
ridiculous.
they were the most.
It was
vulnerable
ridiculous that they had to do that. And there's been a spike in
Have there?
cases
Of
since
course there
then.
has.
So
No, vote or die, you know, but I mean, it was either
Yeah.
you can, that was their choice. Vote
Right.
or live, sorry, that was their choice. If you come out
Right.
to vote, there's a chance you might die.
Yeah.
but so I mean, Wisconsin has been such a heartbreaker for me that this was just a great outcome for change. It was like
Yeah.
a huge, wonderful win.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to do there, but I'm going to say out loud that I think Ben Wickler, who used to be with Move On and moved to Wisconsin to organize in
He
that
did
state,
a great job.
has
Oh my
done
God.
a great job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Terrific job. So yay, Wisconsin for that. And I'm looking forward to you doing the same damn thing in November of this year.
Yeah, no kidding.
And let's hope that we'll have vote by mail. Let's hope that the post office will get funded.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Well, if it's any comfort, I've spent a lot of money in the last week mailing out masks.
Wait, hold on.
No. Where's
Oh yeah, I could turn this into an unboxing video, you know.
Yeah, right.
Carol Lee made us some masks this week.
Tell me how I have to wear these.
So you just wear the
Oh,
pleats
it's
facing
beautiful.
down. Flip it over.
It's a square.
No, flip it so that your pleats are facing down. There you go.
Okay.
In the front.
In the front.
Okay,
Okay.
there you go. And put it over your nose. And tie it behind you.
That
Just
is
tie it, go over your ears.
Over
and
my
tie it.
ears?
Yeah. And then, okay. And for listeners, she's tying the mask. All right. And then you tie the bottom. Yeah, right. Over your ears. Then, yeah. Tie the bottom one.
Over.
Huh? Not over your,
Not
under
over?
your ears. Not over. Yeah. And then you can pull your hair, you know, if you want to. But anyway.
And
that's
it
it.
works. It's a good mask.
And it works. And you can pull the nose part up a little bit if you want, and use your glasses to weight it down. Well,
There you go.
Then
Oh,
there
you
go.
guys have to look at the video. If you're listening, you just have to get on
Okay,
and look
so
at the
there you go.
video.
there you go. Okay.
There you go.
And
And
it's not fogging up my glasses.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a good mask.
It's a good
It
mask.
is a good mask. I am feeling my breath coming up into my eyeballs though.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's your breath in your eyeballs, so there.
That's right. It's okay.
How
And
do I
you
look?
get, you can adjust it and everything. Then after you wear it to the market or whatever, drop it in boiling water for 5 minutes. Take it out. Use a clean towel to get the excess water out, and hang it up on a doorknob, and it'll be dry in like 10 minutes. So
Hey Dave, should I wear this to bed? What do you think?
So
okay.
you guys, we're at that moment in our show. We talk about what we're going to do on the weekend, and it's all, things to stream these days because we're not doing much. And
Oh my God, we watched Parasite.
Oh, and
So it was amazing. Totally
Yeah.
earned the Oscar. Totally worth it. Great
Cool.
movie.
Okay. We'll have to watch that then.
It was
well,
great.
the thing I watched the other night were the first 3 episodes of Mrs. America on Hulu.
Oh,
Oh my God.
really? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is it gonna
I mean,
make
that's
your
like
rating?
a Mamacrats type series, if
Oh,
ever
God.
was one.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Gareth got very upset because, like, I just kept screaming what a bitch Kate Blanchett's Phyllis Schlafly was, you know. I hate her. I really hated her, you know.
She's an evil
She
thing.
is.
She's still alive. She's still alive, isn't
No,
she?
she died in
she died
2016.
finally. They
2016.
pulled her out of the
finally?
crypt a few times, but
Okay.
yeah.
Right
finally.
after endorsing Trump. you
Oh
know.
yeah, of course. Let
Yeah.
that be a lesson to you.
But you guys, it was awesome.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot
That's
wait
on my
for
list
the,
actually to
yeah,
watch
so
tonight.
they dropped 3 episodes on Wednesday, and then it'll be 1 a week for the rest of the run. And each one centers on a different woman from this period of fighting over the ERA. So the first episode is Phyllis. The second episode was Gloria.
Mhm.
And the third episode was Shirley Chisholm.
Ah,
And so it was great. The actors are all great. The casting is all great. The period, the soundtrack.
Oh,
I
no.
love the 70s music that they're playing in the soundtrack.
Oh boy.
Just
Yeah.
everything about it is super. So you guys,
So it's not all about Phyllis Schlafly?
no.
they're all in it, but they're telling a story, but each episode focuses on a different woman in that period. But
Okay.
they're all in all of the,
All of them?
It's the
Okay.
fight for the Equal Rights Amendment is
Right.
the theme of it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to watching it. It's definitely on this weekend. I watched the first episode of The Good Fight last week. Okay, that
Yay.
was just awesome. So awesome, and so thought-provoking in my mind.
It was.
Because it wasn't just a fantasy about how Hillary, won and these things happened. It was basically a real commentary, a social commentary on the fact that if these things had happened, well, what was it? I'm trying to think what the exact.
There was no women's march.
Right, there was no women's march. Harvey Weinstein was like
Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Yeah, got the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and there was no Me Too movement,
right,
or any of that,
right.
And it was just, and it was honestly like the trade-off wasn't worth it. Almost, that was it.
Well, almost,
not quite, but almost.
The name of the episode was The Butterfly Effect.
Yeah.
So
it was a brilliantly written episode, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Yeah. So that's what I watched. And it was
I'm glad you did. I knew you were going to love that.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
The series I need to get into. I know.
You do. You'll love it.
Well, I'm still. We're in season 5 of The Americans. So.
And that is so worth it. The Americans is wonderful.
Speaking of soundtracks, that's
wonderful. Oh yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, you've got to. Oh yeah, no, totally. You have to finish The Americans.
I am finishing.
But yeah, and then do the others. So
yeah.
Anyway, that is our show for the week. I would be playing our end music, but can't do that so easily on Zoom.
Yeah.
Join us.
We could all sing.
Join us next week at blogtalkradio.com/momocrats, and be sure to check out our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz-Mills. And
watch on the YouTube channel too.
Yes, okay. And we're all saying goodbye for the Momocrats. Momocrats Mama Chat is a proud member of the Demcast family of podcasts. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.